Now I want to talk about my top 5 favorite games of 2024 that I played and beat that really, you know, made me happy to play. I was overall thrilled to play and just had a great time with these games. And I want to start with like 5 to my number 1. So number 1 obviously being my most favorite and personal favorite and my personal game of the year, which a lot of you already know. So I'll start with at 5 though, which is like essentially kind of like my least favorite to my favorite. And I think that one will be this right here, Kinitsugami, Half of the Goddess. And this to me is such a sleeper hit from Capcom. It's a unique game. It's like kind of tower defense. It's a little bit of RPG and action, strategy as well. And I noticed this got like not a lot, really much love this year overall from like Game Awards. They didn't really get anything from Game Awards. Didn't get any love from, I don't think, any other awards stuff maybe. To me, this is like a sleeper hit game. I really had a lot of fun with it. I love the structure of it, the way it's designed, things like that, environments, and pretty simple, fairly straightforward once you figure stuff out. And just a lot of fun when you fight the enemies and have the boss fights and everything like that. Like, it's just super fun overall. And I recommend it. I think it's still on Game Pass if you don't want to like pay full price for it. If you got Game Pass on PC or Xbox, try it. See how you feel about it. Definitely one of my favorites of this year. I played and beat and just had a blast with it. Next is Black Myth Wukong. This might surprise people, be number 4 on my list of my top 5 favorites, but that's partially because there's a few gripes I have with it. As far as like from a story standpoint, they don't really do a good job, I feel like, as far as explaining like some of the story elements leading into this game, as far as like what happened to the original Wukong or his backstory in that sense, and how you're essentially the new Wukong. I think they could have done a better job from a narrative standpoint. It is kind of Souls-like in that sense, where the story is a bit more direct than the Souls game, but also a little bit abstract, so you kind of got to figure some stuff out as well too along the way. But gameplay wise, freaking amazing. Like, I love the gameplay, very fun overall. This did suffer from performance issues, tech issues initially too when trying to play it, but there's not much build variety either, sadly. I wish there was more build variety, but despite that, it's a great action RPG. A lot of fun. They recently had a big update that I think brought a boss rush mode to it and some other stuff. I think it had like a map you can get now for each area to make it easier to explore, things like that. Like the skill tree here, as you see, is pretty good from the different stances. All right, here we go with a boss fight. I had gotten this boss down to, it's like one of the early bosses too. Got down halfway. A lot of fun to fight. You end up needing to actually fight this one, I think, before the other one, to get a certain power or something like that. But man, yeah, you get a new ability from him. Yeah, you get a new like ability you can use. Essentially, you can transform into this boss and use the ability. So I ended up using that a lot early on. But the bosses felt fair, challenging. Unfortunately, I think they get nerfed, which I'm glad I beat this before any of the nerfs happen, because I hate when they nerf bosses in games like this when it's meant and intended to be very fun, challenging, things like that. So, and I don't care what anybody says, this is a Souls-like to me. It has a lot of Souls-like elements in it, so I look at it as a great Souls-like action RPG game that I definitely want to go back to, do a new game plus run at some point. And I did end up getting both the like standard ending and the true ending as well. There's only like 2 endings, so got both of them already. So the new game plus run, we'll just go do that at some point. And I'm waiting to see if they add any mods to it to make it more fun and challenging, like if there's like a randomizer or something else, like randomizer for like randomized bosses or something like that, or enemies. That's another thing I'm waiting on to see if they do with the mod community. But definitely recommend this. It's a lot of fun. I know this is a lot of people's game of the year, and I don't blame you, because this is a great game. This is a lot of the player choices game of the year for a lot of stuff, things like that. Yeah. At number 3 is Silent Hill 2 remake. Now I know this probably doesn't do it just as far as the looks. So this had a lot of issues too from technical standpoint and performance issues, even though they've done, I guess, a few patches for this since the launch. But man, I had to really finagle around in my settings, both on my PC and the game settings, to try and figure out how to get this to work. Technical problems aside though, once it actually worked and it ran good and anything like that, I really enjoyed this. This is yeah, my 3rd favorite game of the year overall, and might have been game of the year if Rebirth didn't come out. Maybe not per se, but I mean, I already knew the story because I played the OG back in September a month before it released in October, so like I didn't really get scared too much or anything like that. But this is a lot of fun. The atmosphere, the tone, the way it was more gritty, you know, unsettling. Just the way the environment looked and the enemies looked were more grotesque in some ways and just more visceral. Like I really dug it. It makes you feel uncomfortable. It does a great job with that. And I was more so scared and creeped out by how enemies looked, certain ones or bosses, and the environment more than anything. And it's just dark a lot. Like it's hard to see stuff in this game. That's done intentionally. I get that. So Bloober Team did a solid job with this game, with this remake. And if they do any other Silent Hill remakes, you know, I'll be looking forward to it. Just hope it's optimized day one on PC and consoles too. Like please, please, please. This is like towards the end of the game in the last boss fight. But yeah, boss fights were good as well. Like the final boss fight here was honestly done good. Like it had 3 phases, which I don't remember being a thing in the OG. So that must be new. But yeah, this is a lot of fun to do. Less annoying too than the OG version in terms of boss fight, because like you had a little bat creatures were not flying at you like in the OG, but it was easier, I guess, to dodge them or get away in a sense, so it wasn't as bad. So yeah, a lot of fun overall. I definitely recommend if you like a good action survival horror, and the fact that James doesn't play like a Leon character. You know, he's not some action hero, action movie type of guy. He's just a regular guy and just trying to figure stuff out. So I really appreciate that. Definitely. And definitely want to come back to this as well. Like play some New Game Plus hard mode. I played on normal on the first playthrough because I want to come back to it later on. Play it on hard mode once they patch it a bit more or whatever have you. Because there were times when I was playing this that the stutters and lag would happen and it made me feel nauseous, dizzy. And it's like, that's not good. But still a fun game overall. And you know what? Fuck it. We're going to include Shout Out to Erdtree #2. As far as like new content or games that came out, expansions, things like that, this was freaking phenomenal. The expansion itself was so massive, way more than what Miyazaki tried to tease it up to be. The map was even, I would argue, probably better than the base game. And the bosses, most of them were just a lot of fun. There was like maybe a few that I really didn't really care for, but the added weapons, skills, things like that, and the difficulty was great. And I know there was a lot of drama and weirdness around people want to complain, oh, it's too difficult, this and that. And look, there's a very, very minority on that overall to an extent. And those were just a lot of people that weren't playing it like how they should have, as far as like utilizing everything the game gives you to make your build better and be strong, stuff like that. Apparently there was a lot of issues or drama around that where it was people just playing it without upgrading stuff or getting stuff they needed. So I don't know, and try to like go through without that. I was like, what the heck are you doing? But I personally had a blast with this. I got this on PC now as well too, to do like modded playthroughs on the PC version. I can't wait to do that. I do want to do some other builds for this as well too, for this game, because I still actually do have to do some DLC builds. I haven't done them yet. Still got to get to that. So much content still got to get out. I've been working on PoE 2 stuff. I'm gonna try and get some build videos out for that, and this has kind of been sidelined for that as well, because PoE 2 has been taking over my life, and then Monster Hunter Wild is gonna come out and take over my life too. The final boss was a lot of fun, but I argue my favorite boss of this was Mesmer the Impaler though. Mesmer the Impaler, freaking amazing. Amazing boss. I guess I just gotta do this. Frustrating as hell, but Mesmer the Impaler, that sort of flagship boss I fought in this, like hella fun. And it legit took me like 13 hours, some shit, to beat him. But I just had a blast despite that. I had fun learning him. You know, it took me so freaking long. I would argue maybe a little bit harder than the final boss, but this boss and the final boss were the hardest bosses in the DLC. And I forget which one took longer for me to beat. It might have been Mesmer, but I still gotta do like a boss rage video on Mesmer as well too, and the final boss. Because man, they were just that tough. They made me rage, both of them, but it was a lot of hype. It was a lot of fun. Close moments. There's like several times I should have killed both. I didn't, because like, you know, Souls game type of jank, or just you get close and the game just does something to just like screw you over, or I made mistakes myself and screwed myself over, not intentionally. It's just the way he's designed, his movements, his patterns, things like that. Just a lot of fun to fight overall. At least in this game, this is my new favorite boss fight. Yeah, because it was Millennia, and now I think he's maybe surpassed Millennia. Yeah, and I'm glad I beat this before all the nerfs happened too. I think the nerfs mainly affected the final boss, so I don't know if they affected him. Yeah, I'm glad I beat this DLC before all the nerfs happened. I hate when they nerf bosses in games that shouldn't need it. Like this didn't really need to be nerfed boss wise, but it is what it is. And lastly, to nobody's surprise probably, is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is my #1 favorite game of 2024. My personal game of the year. Love Final Fantasy series, and even though FF7 is not my #1 favorite Final Fantasy game, that's still 10. This is my second overall favorite in terms of the FF games. And the remake and Rebirth, man, the way they're doing it, like this is such a big improvement overall compared to the remake in terms of like combat, storytelling, structure, game design. Like they just, oh man, it almost makes remake look like a demo. At least the combat anyway. Like it makes FF7 remake look like a demo, which is crazy. Really dug how they did this, expand the combat with the team synergy attacks, and I can't wait to see what they do in part 3, which hopefully will come out in the 30-year anniversary, 2027. And they expand the combat more, maybe go Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in a sense with the combat. Who knows? And this is like sort of that nice middle ground. Game 2, and they're not trying to take anything out. They want to clear everything. So the third game, they're going to go crazy. They're going to hit that ending the way they need to. And I noticed this got nominations at Game Awards like that. So I'm thinking maybe 2027, maybe that's when this gets Game of the Year. As the third game will get Game of the Year, or RPG of the Year at least. I think Remake got RPG of the Year though when that came out. And to think of this, like how long it's been, you know, between the games, it was like a 4-year wait roughly between Remake on PS4 to Rebirth on PlayStation 5, and then they did like a teaser announcement in 2022. And if they're trying to hit 2027 as for a release, I imagine we'll get a teaser trailer for the third game, official name of the third game, come Summer Games Fest. That's my prediction. So I have to wait and see. I have a theory crafted as far as exactly what may happen towards the end. I'm excited either way. Like I want the third game to be great. Go ham on that third game, expand the side quests, expand the background lore narrative a bit, you know, on these characters, and the combat, let us go nuts with it. I hope another thing too, because I didn't really use summons too much in this game, I hope they make the summons feel more impactful, more powerful. Not saying I want them to feel so powerful you don't want to use their characters themselves, but I don't know, summons I think need to be a little bit more fun to use. Let's just say that, more fun to use. And the fact that Zach's, you know, we had Cloud and Zach fighting together in here, and oh man, such a good time, such a freaking good time. I was just looking through this stuff, and I know the side quest is like a checklist of stuff to do, but the way it's structured is still all right. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to go back to this. I can't wait to go back to do a New Game Plus run of this game leading up to part 3. Oh yeah. And then we got a PC release later this month, and I'll probably eventually get it on PC as well, try it on PC at some point. Hopefully this gets more love in 2027 when the third game comes out. And I know it's had a lot of mixed opinions towards like the end, or how it ended and things like that, but I still would recommend this whether you're new to the series or not. And it's just a lot of fun, dude. Like, oh my god, the team attack so good, and the story's so good. And there's still stuff I haven't done yet in the game that's regulated to hard mode, or boss fights I haven't done yet. I can't wait to come back to and do. But that's my top 5, guys. Let me know your top 5 games of 2024 that you played and beat. Your favorites. Love to hear from you on that. But that's it from me.